And welcome to another episode of the primetime edition of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on the Stables Network, the show that provides research and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams, whether fans like it or not, and detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts and truth that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. I'm Taylor Phillips, along with Frank Vashner. Follow me on Twitter and Periscope and Instagram at DT2Phillips. Follow Frank Vashner on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram at Frank_Vashner. VAJCNER. Follow the show on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Also like its Facebook page, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Check out its website, the MichiganSportsTruthPodcast.com. Scour the Stables Network's new website, primetimewiththestablesnetwork.com. Subscribe to the Stables Network's YouTube channel and like its Facebook page, Primetime with the Stables Network. The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers, nor does it represent or compete against any of the mainstream media in the state of Michigan. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them because the truth is out there. So lots to talk about. Got Michigan State, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, and even Tigers. And we got Todd Faber's fillers at 10:53, followed by the closing statement. But first, our top story. Former Michigan State University President Luana K. Simon, Sour Lou, I would like to call her, faces charges that she lied to police about knowledge of sexual misconduct in a complaint against Dr. Larry Nassar, former Dr. Larry Nassar. We read it on ESPN. This whole report was from outside the lines. So this is a really big deal here as I'm trying to dig it up. But Frank, I'm pretty sure you read about it. That Sour Lou's getting what she deserves. So
and Taylor, first, let me say I like the idea that you came up with the nickname Sour Lou for. And I will also say this, if you could see my shocked face right now, this is really no surprise to me that she's continuing to be investigated for covering up Larry Nassar, and she deserves everything that she's got going for her. She'll get her day in court. She's going to face criminal charges, and hopefully this matter gets put to bed very quickly because, look, we all know Larry Nassar was a piece of garbage. He's getting what he deserved. And now the rest of the people who were involved need to get brought to justice so this all can be put to bed.
And I just found the article.
Closure. Oh, you did?
Yep. So, a judge on Monday ordered that Sour Luana Simon to stand trial on charges that she lied to police about her knowledge aforementioned. The ruling came the same day the school revealed that a trustee resigned Saturday over the governing board's decision last month to drop an independent review of Nassar's assaults, despite having unanimously voted for the probe in June. Nancy Schlichting, in a letter to Governor Gretchen Whitmer, our Governor Gretchen Whitmer, beloved Governor Gretchen Whitmer, said it became clear to her that 4 trustees do not share the commitment by Schlichting and 3 other trustees to an independent review, including the release of documents protected by attorney-client privilege so the truth can come out. She wrote, quote unquote, "I deeply regret that my board service has been so short, but hope that the next appointed trustee will be able to make a greater impact than I have," unquote. Eaton County District Judge Julie Reinke, meanwhile, found probable cause to send Simon to trial on 2 felony and 2 misdemeanor charges on giving false statements to law enforcement agents who accused her of impending their investigation into one of Nassar's sexual assaults and whether she or other university officials committed misconduct in office. Quote, said Lee Silver, one of Simon's lawyers, quote, "We are disappointed by the district court's ruling in light of the complete lack of evidence to show or to support the charges against Luana K. Simon. We plan to vigorously defend Dr. Simon and will be appealing the decision of the district court. We remain confident that we will ultimately prevail and that Luke Anna K. Simon will be fully acquitted of those charges. Oh, I mean, unquote. What in the world is Lee Silver talking about? Just being her client, or that having Lou Anna K. Simon as his client or something like that. Lee Silver. I never heard that punk. Jeez.
Well, I mean, I think that's just typical lawyer speak. I mean, look, we may not like it, but she is entitled to legal counsel per the United States Constitution, and the lawyer's going to obviously try and defend her, or pretty much in this case, she'll get as minimum as a prison sentence as he can, which truthfully I don't foresee happening.
No, she is the third former school official to be ordered to trial. Authorities said Simon knew in 2014 that Nassar had been accused of molesting a patient at a campus clinic and that she knew of the nature of the complaint. But Simon told police she only knew that a complaint had been filed against a sports doctor and did not become aware of the substance of the review that sparked the school's Title IX investigation of the complaint's nature until 2016. The judge said the evidence that suggests Simon discussed Amanda Thomas Show's sex abuse allegations against Nassar with a senior advisor, Paulette Granberry Russell. Reinke wrote, quote, "It is not credible to believe that Simon would have heard even the outline of Thomas Show's story and forgotten it," unquote. Nassar has been sentenced to decades in prison for sexually assaulting athletes, mostly female gymnasts at Michigan State and a Lansing area gymnastics club. Former Olympians said he also molested them in Texas and overseas while he worked for USA Gymnastics. In September, a day before MSU Board of Trustees Chairwoman Diane Byram announced that the outside review was being scrapped, the federal government ordered the school to make sweeping changes and pay a $4.5 million fine for failing to adequately respond to complaints against Nassar. Byram said then that the board was spilt over, quote unquote, defining the scope work that was to be done by Chicago-based law firm McDermott, Will and Emery to investigate and release a public report. A previous internal review led by New York-based firms Skadden, Arps, Slate, Megger, and Flom had come under criticism because the firm was also assisting the university in anticipation of civil lawsuits and facilitating cooperation with law enforcement following Nassar's 2016 arrest. No report was made public. 3 Nassar victims who worked with the board to initiate the investigation, Rachel Denhollander, Sarah Klein, and Sterling Reithman, accused Byram and 3 other trustees of betrayal. They called on new MSU president Samuel Stanley Jr. to use his executive authority to launch an internal probe, which they say is needed because the state attorney general's criminal investigation and the U.S. Department of Education's investigations cover, quote, a small portion of what went wrong, unquote. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, whose office is prosecuting Simon, has called for the school to waive its attorney-client privilege and release nearly 6,000 documents. Stanley has said it is up to the trustees who have deadlocked. He said in a statement, quote, "Nancy brought tremendous experience managing large organizations to her role on the MSU Board of Trustees. I'm sorry that she is stepping down, but I wish her much personal success and happiness with her other projects. We valued her insight and contributions while she was with us," unquote. Schlichting was appointed last December, this and that. Yep. So that's the end of that. All this information about the past and stuff, about everybody else's resume, and that's the end of it. So what have you learned from what I read, Frank?
Well, what I've learned is that So, like I said, Luann K. Simon's going to get her day in court, and justice is going to be done. But it sounds like that she and her cohorts are trying to essentially minimize what she did. I mean, it's kind of, to me, I mean, I don't like to use comparisons in this matter because it's kind of apples to oranges, but it kind of goes back to when Ohio State had their tattoo issues with players exchanging memorabilia for tattoos, and Jim Tressel knew about it. He had emails exchanged, and then when it gets brought to his attention, he said, "Oh, this is news to me," and then he changed the story to, "Oh, I knew about it, I just didn't know who to go to," and then changed to, "Okay, I knew about it, and I told so and so." I mean, I see some parallels there, but I think the bottom line is Luann K. Simon is facing some lengthy time in prison.
Yeah, hopefully so. Still have to hope, but I think that's going to happen. So there, Luann K. Simon facing charges. So on to the next topic. College football. The Michigan Wolverines, who were ranked 19th, absolutely took down the 8th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish 45-14. The running game was most key. There was just domination on both sides of the ball from Michigan. The running game, Charbonnet and Haskins just led the way. Michigan had to overcome at least a couple obstacles. The weather, it was awful, but Michigan overcame that. They hung on to the football. Plus, they overcame a little bit of officiating controversy, which allowed Notre Dame to score. Michigan responded with a scoring drive of their own, and they just kept on rolling. Their defense played very, very well. That's pretty much the entire game, minus that controversy. That was clearly not pass interference. It wasn't. I'm not trying to favor anyone, but I'm speaking the truth.
Well, and Taylor, I'm not one who's a Michigan fan, although I was in attendance at this game, and that was not pass interference. They called it, I believe they called it on Kaliki Hudson, and he was
Khalil Hudson. Yeah.
And Kaliki Hudson, their linebacker / kind of hybrid player, he didn't even touch the receiver. So, I mean, look, I'm not one that likes to critique officiating myself, but that call was terrible. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And it did lead to a Notre Dame touchdown, but fortunately for Michigan, they had built up enough of a lead where it didn't really have much effect on the outcome of the game. And you mentioned Zach Charbonnet. He ended up 74 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I was actually most impressed with Hassan Haskins, because he ended up turning in 149 yards on the ground on 20 carries. He actually did pretty well, and that's actually not bad given that he was he had previously played linebacker. Now he's played running back. So I think there's one thing that I did learn in this game, that Michigan has kind of may have found another option at running back with Haskins. Charbonnet, I still think, he is getting better, but I think I'd like to see a little bit more out of him. And of course, given that it was crappy weather, downpours, and soaking rain, which I sat through it for 3 quarters, they showed that they can run the football. They averaged 5.3 yards a carry, which is actually isn't too bad. 303 total yards. And they pretty much got the job done. And Shea Patterson only had to throw it 12 times.
Right.
He only completed 6 of his passes, but he ended up hitting Nico Collins for what ended up being essentially puts the game out of reach. And I ended up leaving after that because I was soaked. And then also Mike Sanders still, though I think I'm butchering that name. He had 3 catches for 73 yards, and Donovan Peoples-Jones ended up with 2 catches for 28. And also, I also want to give a tip of my cap to the fans I was around. When Ronnie Bell had his lone reception of the night, the whole stadium cheered for him and gave him a nice round of applause. Of course, I didn't have much of a voice at the time, but I did the same thing. I applauded him because, as I mentioned last week, he took a lot of BS and heat for dropping what would have been the go-ahead touchdown against Penn State. And I ripped all the fans who told him he should be off the team, he should lose his scholarship, and saying a whole lot of other garbage. And I thought that was very cool, just to show him some signs of encouragement, say, hey, man, way to keep your head up and keep playing the game. So I have to give a tip of my cap to Michigan fans. I mean, and the other thing, too, I noticed is that Shea Patterson, still kind of careless with the football. He fumbled it 3 times, didn't lose any of them, but to any Michigan fans who are all excited about the win, I mean, yeah, you should be happy with a win. You ended up beating a top 10 team handily, mind you, but you are not on the same planet as Ohio State yet.
Still got to keep working your way up.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of things you got to do. Ball
Getting
security is most important. I mean, I think you got to.
Even in wet conditions.
Yes, it is.
Got to wear some gloves.
Well, I mean, not to get off track, a little comment about that. If you're wearing gloves when it's raining, your gloves are wet, you can't really catch the ball. I noticed that when I tuned into Ohio State, Wisconsin earlier that day, but that's another topic. But I mean, there's a lot of things that need to work on. There's things they got better at, but let's just say it was a step in the right direction. And I'll say right now, barring anything crazy, I think Michigan finishes the season at 9-3. That's in the regular season. That's about as far as I'll go because I can't see them beating Ohio State. I mean, I think they will. I mean, Taylor, if we could just transition ahead to their next game this Saturday, which is against Maryland, and which is going to be a nooner on ABC.
Yeah, I mean, Terrapins are bad. Terrapins are bad.
Okay. Now, at the start of the season, everyone was thinking, oh, Maryland's got an offense.
By the way, Michigan's ranked 14th now.
Yes, I did see that. Maryland actually was putting up a ton of points. They put up 79 against Howard, or they put up 63 against Syracuse.
They do have a powerful offense.
Well, but they put up those numbers against garbage teams. Howard is a pretty bad FCS team. Syracuse at the time was ranked 21st. They have fallen off a cliff. And they also put up 48 against Rutgers, who is the worst team in the Big Ten. But other games they've played in, they lost 20-17 to Temple. They lost 59-0 to Penn State, 40-14 to Purdue, 38-4-20 to Maryland, and 52-10 to Minnesota. I think that I know Michigan's kind of coming off of an emotional high with a big win. But this is a Maryland team that is pretty bad. I mean, I know Mike Loxley's in his first year as head coach. There is some talent on the Maryland roster, but they're basically on their third quarterback is Josh. I think Josh Jackson has been benched. I mean, they got a couple of decent players. Javon Leake, their running back, has got 543 yards, 7 touchdowns, and Dante Demas Jr. is their top receiver with 487 yards and 4 touchdowns. Michigan's actually favored by 21 in this one. I think they will go out, take care of business. I'll go Michigan 44, Maryland 14. I think Michigan will eventually just get up by 30 points in the second half. So I think they still might have a little bit of a hangover from the Notre Dame game. And then once the second half is gone, they'll finally get fired on all cylinders, and then the game will be out of reach.
Yeah. Yeah. The question is, how is Michigan's defense going to stop Maryland's powerful offense?
Well,
I'll let you go ahead, and then I'll get my scoring prediction. But I'll let you go ahead. Yep.
Okay. Well, like I said, Taylor, Maryland has put up really big numbers against teams that are dumpster fires. Against better competition, they have not done very well, because in all their losses, Maryland has put up 17 against Temple. They got shut out by Penn State. They put up 14 against Purdue, or Purdon't, as some people like to refer to them as, because they're not good. Put up 28 against Indiana and 10 points against Minnesota. So I think if you see teams that are kind of in your range of the conference and below you shutting Maryland down, I think you should definitely be able to take care of business in this one. That's why I say 44-14 Michigan wins.
Yeah, I have to agree. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and go 45-10. I think Michigan's defense is going to do a little better than you think. Only a touchdown and a field goal would just do enough if Michigan's defense just keeps on doing what they're doing. Michigan and Maryland Saturday at noon on ABC. That should be an easy one. I'm probably gonna work during that game anyways. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the Wolverines are going to slack them.
Yeah, and for the record, the game is on the road in College Park.
Yeah. By the way, Michigan lost a very valuable recruit quarterback, J.D. Johnson. He's going to retire. He's going to retire due to a heart issue, and and the school is going to honor their scholarship to their quarterback, to what was going to be their quarterback, J.D. Johnson, but I guess he's no longer going to play football. That's a tragic thing to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you never like to see stuff like that happen, and where a player has a heart condition and he has to end his career. Otherwise, he ends up dying on the field, and nobody wants to see that happen. But I mean, at least Michigan is doing the right thing by allowing him to remain on scholarship. But I think what will happen is he'll be a medical disqualification, which means his scholarship will not count against the 85 scholarship limit. And of course, for mentioning this story, I actually kind of was at the same time looking at a local player in my area at the high school level who had a heart condition as well, and he couldn't play his senior season, but I guess his family sought second and third opinions, and there was a U of M cardiologist who actually cleared him to play his playoff game this Saturday, provided that he takes certain precautions. So kind of interesting how those two stories are tied together.
Yeah. So, that's.
So, I mean, hopefully this kid can will have a future as a coach as well.
Yep.
Hopefully he can still stay involved in the game even though he can't play. I mean, that'll usually happen with those types of players.
Yeah, but speaking of Michigan State, their football team fell flat against the 6th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, 28-7. No offense whatsoever. Again, just one touchdown. The same old story with the Spartans. And then they have another bye week.
Mercifully.
Frank, yeah, Frank, justify it as best you can.
I mean, I'm not even sure where to begin without beating a dead horse, because I've said it many a time. D'Antonio needs to go at the end of the season. And I mean, I just don't. I mean, look, I know Brad Salem is trying to change things up, but I guess whatever it is, something's not working. There needs to be something new that happens, especially with their. I mean, I don't know if it's just their position coaches that are doing a poor job. I mean, their line play has been absolutely abysmal. So I think that may be a start. But again, I think D'Antonio, who has been so stubborn and not willing to make big time changes,
because he's loyal to his staff, including Dave Warner, the running backs coach. May I correct myself?
And Jim Bowman, his offensive line coach.
Yeah,
Bowman
he sucks too.
Yeah. And then just to kind of add to this crap Sunday, there was quarterback shuffling. I mean, Lewerke threw for 165 yards through a pick. Rocky Lombardi made an appearance. He threw a pick. And we even saw Theo Day play for a little bit. He only went 2 out of 3 for 12 yards. So that, excuse me. And also Lewerke lost a fumble goal as well. So, and truthfully, I think next year quarterback situation looks pretty grim. I haven't been impressed with Lombardi. Theo Day, I mean, if he gets his act together and works harder and tries to get better, okay, well, hopefully he can. And from a run, and the team can't even run the ball too. Elijah Collins struggled running it. Had receivers are probably dropping passes again. And why on God's green earth is Brandon Sowers returning punts? He can't return. He has no speed, and he fumbled one and lost one. It's. I'll just say it. I mean, even if D'Antonio is gone after this season, and a new staff comes in, next year is going to be pretty rough because there's going to be a lot of guys who are gone and there have to be a lot of new faces in. So, truthfully, I'm not sure. I'm going to look at the rest of Michigan State's schedule. Illinois, I would say they should beat, although Illinois did beat Wisconsin. And so I'm not going to rest on that. I'm not even sure they beat Michigan now. Rutgers, I think they're going to be able to beat Maryland and Rutgers, but I won't get my hopes up on the latter of those. But it's looking pretty bad for season ending. And I'll tell you right now, I would say if this team doesn't want to look like they want to play, they should just flat decline a bowl bid and say, you know what, we're not gonna play, and there's probably gonna be guys who are gonna sit out anyway because of wanting to go to the NFL, as that's become a new norm. So I guess going to a bowl with this staff isn't going to do any good.
Nope, definitely not. I think Michigan State, if they keep that crap up, they may finish below 500. They might.
I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah. So that's Michigan State for you. What else is new, right?
Yep. So, same song, different verse.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Lions. They improved to 3-1 with a 31-26 victory over the DERP, the New York Giants. Thank you, urinating tree. That's 5 points Fitz's favorite NFL team because he's a New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But Matthew Stafford, that being said, 25 out of 32. Got some great catches from Danny Amendola, Kenny Galladay with an easy touchdown catch, Marvin Hall Jr. with an easy touchdown catch. They were both deep, but Stafford's long touchdown passes were rainbows. And those receivers were just left open, and they were just like catching those footballs in the end near the goal line for easy touchdown catches like cans of corn, like pop flies in the outfield. Those are just great plays. Maybe they could have fooled the Giants secondary defense, especially that double reverse play just from Stafford to Galladay. That's incredible. Give the Lions credit. Give Stafford credit. He played well. He did 25 of 32. Got to give it to him.
And I do. They did play well. Receivers caught. Excuse me.
You okay? Jeez.
Yeah. Sorry. I was good. I just had to get a drink. My bad. Stafford did, like you said, he played well. 3 touchdown passes. Kenny Galladay had himself a nice day. I mean, Marvin Hall, I don't think a lot of average fans knew about him until then. And they played well. But the problem is this team still can't run the football. 59 yards on 25 carries. Trey Carson had 34 of those, averaged 2.8 per carry. They just do not run the ball very well at all. Whether that's a blocking scheme or guys just stink, this team is going to struggle running the ball without Kerryon Johnson in the lineup. So that probably means you're going to have to see Stafford just slinging it 50 times a game.
Right.
And from here on out. And look, and I know people will be excited about the win, and yeah, it was a nice win. But again, the Giants are one of the worst teams in the NFL, especially defensively. They're not very good. And of course, I mean, if the Lions defense can take one positive, it's the fact that they held Saquon Barkley at 64 yards and no touchdowns, pounds on the ground. But of course, he burned them through the air with 8 catches for 79 yards and a score. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here on out. Up next, hold
on. Before we get to Oakland, I got some cons for the Lions secondary defense. Rashawn Melvin, he is a very poor and undisciplined secondary defender. Justin Coleman, he did a little better than him, but even he's got room for improvement. But the secondary defense, as usual, not good to say the least. But Rashawn Melvin is a dumpster fire. Jeez, he can't cover receivers, and he keeps drawing too many penalties. He needs to be cut. Period. Rashawn Melvin needs to be cut. I mean, really, Rashawn Melvin is just a selfish player. My God, he's played awful as of late. He's already starting to get on my nerves.
Well, for what it's worth, Taylor, they did sign Michael Jackson from the Cowboys practice squad, and I know a lot of people are floating around Thriller puns since Halloween is tomorrow, and that was one of Michael Jackson, the singer's hit songs. But all jokes aside, I don't know if he's going to end up seeing the field or not, and we don't know if Darius Slay is going to return or not. I'm going to actually see what the injury report says, if I can find it.
By the way, Darius Slay is staying in Detroit. He's not going to get traded, by the way, because his price was way, way, way too high.
Well, here was a report from today. He actually did practice, but he was limited due to his hamstring injury. Tracy Walker did not practice.
Tracy Walker's another selfish player. He needs to be cut too.
And then the only other guy,
he's a wuss too. Tracy Walker also complains about the officiating way too much. Just a downright wuss.
Yeah. And the only other player that was listed on the report today was Graham Glasgow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So who knows what ends up happening? They did. I mean, as I mentioned, they signed Michael Jackson, and I think it was after our last show. Well, they did sign safety Marcus Gilchrist, who's kind of bounced around the NFL. He spent some time with the Chargers. I think he was with the Raiders, and there was a couple other spots he was. They also released running back Paul Perkins, who wasn't doing very well in his limited action. So that's just your up-to-date report on their transactions and injuries.
Paul Perkins needs to retire.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up going anywhere else next.
No, he needs to retire. That's all I can say for him. That's my only option for him. Now we get to the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah,
ESPN has actually predicted the Lions to beat the Oakland Raiders on the road. Usually the Raiders are very good at home against everyone else all other teams in the NFL, including the Lions, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Denver Broncos. Yeah. But you've got more analysis for it.
Sorry. Well, the Raiders are always tough to play when they're at the dump known as the
Alameda County Coliseum.
Yes, that stadium is the biggest dump of all dumps. And look, Oakland's actually kind of about the same as the Lions. They're not good, but they're also not god awful. I mean, they're not one of the better scoring teams. They only put about 21 a game on the board.
In other words, they're mediocre.
Yeah, they did. I mean, their wins on some of their wins on the season. They beat the Indianapolis Colts in Indy. They also beat the Bears in London. But they've lost their last two. They lost to Green Bay, and they also lost to Houston. Oakland's a team they will run the ball with Josh Jacobs, who's their rookie running back. Heck, and Derek Carr, he's pretty decent at QB. He's thrown 11 touchdowns, 4 picks. But they don't. But I think this is a game. I think the Lions can win this game. But thing is, Oakland's really good at running the ball, and the Lions really struggle against the run and defending it. I don't think they're going to get burned with the pass, but I think slowing down Jacobs is going to be key. And if guys like Mike Daniels don't play, then I think that could impact their rush defense. I mean, they're going to need a big game from Snacks Harrison, Deshaun Hand, and those guys. I'm actually going to say the Lions win this one in a close one. I'm going to say, I'll say 27-26.
Oh, dang, man.
Yeah, I think for some reason, I think it's just going to be a real tight game and real close. Because I think it was the last time they were in Oakland, I believe it was 2011. They actually had a late comeback, led by Matt Stafford, and I believe Sebastian Janikowski was attempting a 60-some-yard field goal, and it got blocked. And the Lions ended up winning it 28-27, if I remember correctly.
Uh-huh. All right.
So
yeah.
I think they win. I think they squeak out a close one.
Yep. So, yeah, the Lions are going to have on and off games. I still think they'll win just by a lower scoring affair. I'm going to go 24-22. That's just a wild guess. Their defense is not going to be too shabby. It's not going to be great either, but we'll have to see what happens. You picked the Lions to win 27-26. I picked the Lions to win 24-22. So the Red Wings, they finally had their 8-game losing streak snapped. First, they lose to the Sabres 2-0, and then they lose to the Stanley Cup champion Blues in overtime 5-4. They're all at Little Caesars Arena. And then just last night, they beat the Edmonton Oilers 3-1. Dylan Larkin, Patrick Nemeth of all people getting a goal, and Philippe Hronek getting the empty net goal. Dylan Larkin, one of the usual goal scorers for Detroit. Jimmy Howard, of all people, 31 saves. He played in the Buffalo game, only allowing 2 goals. He only allowed 1 in Edmonton. He almost shut him out. Wow. Jimmy, now at first we saw the first at least few games we saw Jonathan Bernier statistically outplay Jimmy Howard, but now Jimmy Howard is starting to shine while Jonathan Bernier is getting shelled as of late the last few games for each goaltender. But it has nothing to do with the awful defensive Trevor Daley, Mike Green, and others or Madison Bowie. But that is just impressive goaltending by Jimmy Howard. He's finding himself. The Red Wings hopefully will take that to PNC Arena and so on and so forth as they play the Carolina Hurricanes in their next game on Friday at 7:30 in Raleigh, North Carolina. But wow, it's just amazing how things change. But the Red Wings finally snapped their 8-game losing streak. They're 4-8-1 though. They got a mess to clean up in their record. They got some catching up to do if they want to make the playoffs, which is not really possible. But they're still 13, 82 minus 13. That's 69 games left for the Detroit Red Wings. So, Frank, you want to run down what you've analyzed? Did you read any of Prashant Iyer's tweets about the trade of Brendan?
Perlini, for Alec Regula.
Right.
I mean, here's what I think. I think it was done because, and this is where I'll kind of say this for my closing statement, but I think, long story short, Steve Yzerman was trying to do something to shake the tree offensively because here's who you got who's scoring goals right now for the Wings. If I can pull it up. You got Anthony Mantha, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Dylan Larkin, who are pretty much your usual suspects. Beyond that, the rest of your forwards, like Taro Hirose, no goals. Andreas Athanasiou, no goals.
At least 2 or 3 assists.
Yeah, he's got three assists. Justin Alcantara, okay, we didn't expect him to score. Let's be real here. Franz Nielsen hasn't scored. I mean, pretty much in your and of course, the rest of your bottom six, Valtteri Filppula only has 1 goal. I mean, Darren Helm's got 4 goals on the year, which kind of what you would expect from someone like him. But you're not getting much offense from everywhere else. From your defenseman, Philippe Hronek's got 3. Cholowski's got 1. Patrick Nemeth, Mike Green, 1 apiece. So I think when Perlini does get into the lineup, I think he's probably going to end up seeing kind of, I would say, anywhere from a middle 6 role, probably a second or third liner. Or, I mean, he's someone who can be kind of that 2-way guy. He can go dig for pucks in the corner. And interesting fact about him, he's actually, I believe he is, excuse me, I believe he's going to be the first NHL, the first player the Red Wings have that was born in the United Kingdom since Steve Thomas back in 2003, 2004. So that's just a little interesting tidbit about Mr. Perlini. So he didn't play last night. We'll see if he ends up getting into the lineup when they go down to Carolina or when they're in Florida. Only time will tell. So, but I mean, the rest of it I'm going to actually save for my closing statement.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have our closing statement right at the end of the show, right after Todd Faber's fillers. Faber's fillers at 10:53.
Coming up in 9 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, plus, yeah, absolutely. So Justin Abdelkader, by the way, is day-to-day with a lower body injury. Luke Glendening out 2 to 4 weeks with a hand injury. Danny DeKeyser out at least 2 weeks with a lower body injury. You know, of course, we mentioned the trade Brendan Perlini from the Blackhawks in a trade for prospect defenseman Alec Regula. Prashant Iyer analyzed that trade. Neither player in that trade was good, so it's a no-win situation for either team. You can follow Prashant Iyer on Twitter at Iyer_Prashant, IYER_PRASHANTH. So the Red Wings at the Hurricanes Friday at 7:30. Prashant Iyer likes covering both teams, and there you go. Prashant Iyer, we expect him to cover that. Projected goalies Jimmy Howard and Peter Mrazek. What do you know? The one and only. Then the Red Wings head to Sunrise at BB&T Center in Sunrise, Florida, to take on the Florida Panthers Saturday at 7. They're home against the Predators, Nashville, Monday at 7:30, and then an NBCSN Wednesday night game against the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. Can't wait for that one. It's going to be a good one. Red Wings at Rangers Wednesday at 8 on NBCSN, and we're going to cover it. And we're going to cover the last of the game right here next week on the Stables Network, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Frank, I'm pretty sure that hopefully you don't have Dish Network, because that doesn't have five. Oh wait, it's NBCSN. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna watch. So yeah, I have NBCSN, so I'm gonna view that on TV anyway. So, drat. Yeah. I'm actually in a current situation where I'll forget it. I'll try to view NBCSN on probably that other big screen TV while recording something else at 10 o'clock for just a half hour. But anyway, the Pistons, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks 117-100. They lost to the 76ers 117-11. They beat the Pacers 96-94. They played better defense against the Indiana Pacers, who are still winless. And then they lost to the defending NBA champion Toronto Raptors 125-113 at Air Canada Center. Pistons just couldn't keep up with the defending champion Raptors, but they also played good teams as well. The Atlanta Hawks, they played a lot better than we predicted to be. The Atlanta Hawks, they have a good record. They were 2-0 the last I checked, like last week or so. But the Philadelphia 76ers, even without Joel Embiid, are a good team. Of course, the Raptors. The Pacers are not that good. They're still winless. The Pistons beat them again. Derrick Rose continues to score a lot of points per game. I'm not sure how many points he scored tonight. Let me look it up on NBA.com. But
I actually had the box score in front of me. Derrick Rose tonight had kind of an off night, 16 points in 21 minutes of action, 7-12 from the floor. Good. Yeah, it was kind of more of an off night for him.
Right.
Although Andre Drummond had 21 and 22.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Kennard he had a rough night. Only 3 points, was 1 of 6 from the field.
3 points? Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. That's the thing.
That's rougher than rough.
With Kennard. I mean, there's nights where he'll be on it. There's nights where he's not going to be on. He's just real streaky. And, something he's going to have to get better at.
Yeah. How badly did he shoot?
As a team, they shot 41 of 88 from the floor.
Luke Kennard.
Kennard was 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 4 from the long line.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, only 6 shots, but still a very bad shooting percentage. Yeah, still, even though he's not schemed enough or schemed properly, there's some days or some games that he needs to shoot better than that. So yeah, Pistons
Yeah.
at the Chicago Bulls at United Center Friday at 8. Then the Nets with
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving. Yeah.
Kevin Durant's out for the season.
Yep. Yeah, he's toast. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Then they that's at Little Caesars Arena against the Brooklyn Nets, and then the Pistons at the Washington Wizards Monday at 7, and then at the Charlotte Hornets Wednesday at 7.
No, you forgot they're home against the Knicks.
They're home against the
Wednesday.
Knicks.
Yes.
The Knicks. Hang on, let me check that schedule again.
I have it up in front of me right now.
Okay, it's November. They're home against the Knicks, not the Hornets. That's.
Yeah, they will play the Hornets on February.
They're home against the Knicks.
Yes. Yeah, they play the Hornets on November 15th in Charlotte. Yeah, and also a quick side note, this won't be till later in December, but on December 18th, I will actually be in attendance when they host the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, the Pistons? Wow.
Yeah, well,
how stoked are you for that?
Well, I'll kind of keep this a little bit short, but it's actually because Dundee High School is going to be playing a game at Little Caesars Arena at 12:45 that day. I'm actually going to be on the mic for that one when they're playing New Boston Huron High School. So it's a pretty cool opportunity to play in an NBA arena for our players. And it's going to be fun. And then we also get to stay for the Pistons game. So I will be at that. I'll let you know that I won't be able to be on that night as I'll be on the bus coming back. So have to make sure far enough ahead of time where you can get somebody to throw in there. Maybe, I don't know if Todd will be done with school yet where he can throw in for a whole show. But speaking of Todd, he's about 1 minute away from being on, so we may have to get him on right about now.
Well, we got one more thing that we need to touch on. The Tigers in baseball, the Tigers have released 4 veteran players, actually. Blaine Hardy, Daniel Stumpf, Victor Alcantara, and first baseman and designated hitter John Hicks, who are all now unrestricted free agents. So there.
Yeah, probably just, I would say that maybe they're just saying, okay, hey, time to move on. You guys weren't producing too much. We need to go in a different direction. Simple as that.
Yeah, I can't believe Al Avila decided to clean up a little bit of clutter. So,
yep. Get on him, man.
Yep. So, gonna try to bring in Todd right about now. So, you are listening to the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on the Stables Network, also on Facebook Live, YouTube, and of course Spreaker. There's Todd Faber. Todd, what's your filler for this week? Todd? Breck, you want to put him on right here? Let's see here. Todd Faber's just checking in. So, Breck, you want to unmute him? Or Todd, you want to unmute yourself? This is the Stables Network, the Michigan Sports Truth podcast.
All right, there we go.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Thank you. Today,
all right, you got 5 minutes.
You got it. What I've done is I've just written a bit of a breakdown on the Brendan Perlini trade went down on Monday. And certainly it's not a common household name, but amongst he's familiar to the hardcore hockey fans out there. He was the 12th selection overall in the draft a few years ago. He's only 23. He signed for less than $1 million for this year. So it's a great low risk, high reward move. The cost was relatively low in Alec Regula, who was 67th third round pick in 2018, selection by Ken Holland, of course, and with Stevie selecting a virtual stable of young defensemen in the 2019 draft. Regula was determined to be expendable. He is putting up a point a game pace in junior right now for London, but you never know how these defensemen will pair out. What we're getting in Perlini is we're going to, if he lives up to the hype, he's going to be the goal scoring force that we're lacking right now in Andreas Athanasiou. He's a left wing. There were 414 forwards in the National Hockey League who played between the 2016-17 season and the 2018-19 season and logged at least 1,000 minutes of ice time. Brendan Perlini is on that list, and he ranked number 86th in goals per 60 minutes. Now, just to put that in perspective, rating number 87 is Anthony Mantha.
Ooh, okay.
Now, another excellent connection between this current Detroit Red Wings team is Brendan Perlini also played his bantam hockey here in Metro Detroit for the Bell Tire program. He was a line mate with, and he was also selected 3 spots above Dylan
Larkin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This
Michigan
is a
Wolverine.
master stroke by Steve Eisen. A masterful, low-risk, potential high-reward move that's going to get us some goals, get the Wings some goals. I shouldn't say us. I'm not on the team, but certainly. This is going to help in the long run. The Yzer plan is in full effect, and this year, of course, is a wash. I definitely want to see Alexis Lafreniere on the Red Wings lineup next year or in the stable. So team tank as far as that's concerned. But still, Perlini's going to make the difference. Just like my unsung hero of the week made a difference in Monday's 96-94 win with the Pistons over the Indiana Pacers. Christian Wood stepped up, and he played himself a monster game, going 8 for 10 on field goals, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 12 boards, 19 points total off the bench, giving some rest to Markieff Morris. And Christian Wood, who is he? He's a waiver claim. Typical low-risk, high-reward move that just worked out well in a 2-point swing. Going 3 for 3, Christian Wood won us that ball game. So full marks to Christian Wood. And that's my story for this week, and I'll be sticking to it. I'll talk to you guys in another 7 days.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Low risk, high reward.
Thank you,
Good
Frank.
to hear from you.
You
Absolutely.
got it, buddy. You got it.
So plenty of time for a closing statement. Frank, go. What have we learned?
Well, I'm going to kind of play this off of what Todd said. I had no idea what he was going to say what he did, but props to him. This trade that the Red Wings made, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it was Yzerman trying to shake the tree offensively. And hopefully Perlini does bring some offense to the table when he is in the lineup. Now, what I will say about that is this is a sign that Yzerman is more proactive at this stuff than Ken Holland was. Because it seems like Yzerman has done a lot more in his first, let's say he became the GM in April. It's now October. His first 6 months on the job, he's seemingly done much more in 6 months than Ken Holland has, done in the last few years. Here's when it comes to being proactive. Because as a GM, you have to be proactive and recognize situations that could be bad. Holland just seemingly would always wait and think, oh, it'll get better on its own. And then by the time he tried to do something, it was too late and the damage was done. So
1 minute.
Full marks to Steve Yzerman for being proactive instead of reactive. This is part of the Yzer plan.
Yep, absolutely. My closing statement, I pray to God that the Michigan Wolverines just keep working their way up like the way they beat Notre Dame. They routed Notre Dame. Of course, they're going to rout Michigan State in the in-state rivalry game. Indiana, sleeper team, better watch out for that. But I think Michigan will win. But hopefully, Michigan will rout Indiana on the road. And then the game, Ohio State. Even I never know what's going to go down. Even if it was a close game, if it was a closer game, I would enjoy it. For Frank, I'm Taylor, and for Todd as well. Listen to us on the Stables Network on YouTube, Spreaker, and on Facebook Live. Also, primetimewiththestablesnetwork.com, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.com, Michigan_Truth on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram, and the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Facebook. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Bon appetit.